In last week's video, I gave you a 90-second practice for when you have a little bit of time and a little bit of space. You clench, you hold, you release. But I know that that's not always where you are. Sometimes you're spinning, you're spiraling. Sometimes you're so up in your head, you're way too wound up, you're way too far away from your body to do anything that takes 90 seconds, let alone 10 minutes. And this might happen when you're in the middle of a conversation, or perhaps when you're at work, or maybe when you're in line at the grocery store. Or it might even happen if you're, standing in your kitchen, just not understanding why you have this tight sensation in your chest. So, in moments like this, I want to give you an even simpler practice. It's just 3 breaths. You can do it anywhere, anytime. Don't need to close your eyes, don't need a quiet room, don't even need to sit down. What this exercise will do is not talk you out of your spiral, because that's not actually the point of this. So, let me tell you exactly what I mean. I know that just breathe is probably the single most overused piece of advice in existence. I get it, because I had resistance to this advice for years because, one, it sounded too simple. But second, if you tell me to just breathe when I'm anxious or upset, that just makes me more anxious and more upset. And so I was never really inclined to do it until I actually gave it a try. Now, if it sounds unrealistic for you, if it doesn't land, it could be because when we often hear the words just breathe out there in the internet, it sometimes, I think, comes with this hidden expectation that you take a few breaths and it's going to fix the spiral you're in. It's going to take away your anxiety and it's going to calm you all the way down. It'll take you out of whatever story your mind is running. And sometimes that does happen. That's my experience, but that didn't start happening till a long time after I was using this practice. But that's not actually the point of doing a breathing exercise like the one I'll share with you today. Now, this practice isn't going to try to argue with your spiral at all. It's not going to try to convince your nervous system that everything's fine, because sometimes things aren't actually fine, or at the least, they don't feel fine at all. And so, trying to force calm into something just creates this second layer of struggle on top of the first one, and it just makes everything a little bit worse. And so, what this practice does instead is much smaller, and then I think also probably just a little bit more honest and appropriate to where you might be in these moments where you feel like you're spiraling out of control. It gives your body this one small, repeatable signal that you're allowed to come down just a notch, right? Not all the way down, just a wee little bit. And the reason why this matters is because a lot of the spiraling that we do, whether it's anxious overthinking or, that tight braced feeling that we tend to carry around with us, often when it's around food or around body stuff, or even just like general wound upness, I guess, from a long day. Those feelings aren't actually being run by your thoughts. It's being run by your body. And so your thoughts are just narrating what your body is already doing. So if your body never gets the signal that it's safe to ease up a little bit, your mind can think its way around in circles forever, and then nothing actually shifts. And so when we do these 3 breaths done in a very specific way, that can be the signal. So let me walk you through it. It's just 3 breaths, and each breath just builds slightly on the last one. So for the first breath, you're going to inhale through your nose and then exhale slowly through your mouth, like you're fogging up a mirror. Just a long, soft, drawn out exhale. And after that breath, you don't have to do anything except notice. Just notice that your breath did that. That's all you have to do. Don't fight it. Don't judge it as good breathing or relaxed breathing or whatever. Just notice your body breathed. Okay. So breath 2, it's the exact same breath. You're going to inhale through the nose and then a long fog the mirror exhale through the mouth. But this time, as you exhale, you're going to let your shoulders drop just a little. So you don't have to force them down dramatically or clench them and drop them like we did in last week's exercise. It's really just seeing if you can relax them a little bit. Most of us are holding them somewhere up near our ears all the time without really even noticing it. So letting them fall even just an inch is enough. It's the whole move here. So we can do that one together. Big in breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth, and as you do, let the shoulders drop. That's all there is to it. And for the third breath, it's the exact same breath, except this time as you exhale, you're going to silently name to yourself just one thing that's going okay right now. Not a big thing, not your whole life, not the situation that's stressing you out, just one small thing that happens to be true. Maybe it's I'm sitting down right now. Maybe it's the sun is shining. Maybe it's hubby's making supper tonight. Just one small good thing, one thing that's even just a little bit okay in this moment. So big breath in. And as you exhale, recall something good. All right. This is the whole ask for this exercise. 3 breaths under 30 seconds. You can do it with your eyes open in a meeting, in line, at work, in the bathroom, wherever you are. Okay, let's practice the whole 3 breath reset together. First breath, inhale through your nose. And then nice long exhale through your mouth as if you're trying to fog up a mirror. Good. Second breath, again, inhale through the nose. And this time as you exhale, slightly drop your shoulders. Good. For the third breath, nice big breath in through the nose once more. And now on your exhale, bring to mind one thing that's going okay in the moment. For me, it's knowing that I'm going camping right after this video. That's very okay for me. All right, as you did this quick 30-second breathing exercise, did you notice anything shift even just a little bit? Remember, this exercise isn't about big, huge, dramatic changes. It's not completely taking you out of the spiral. It's just about bringing it down a notch a little bit so we can be just that much more present in our body. Maybe you didn't notice anything dramatic at all, and that's totally okay too. I'll talk about that in just a second. But first, I want to tell you why this exercise works. And it's largely because you didn't actually fix anything in those last 30 seconds. Whatever was spinning for you before, it's probably still there, right? That deadline at work is still coming. The fight with your spouse is still ongoing. That uncomfortable email is still unanswered. And the thought that you couldn't shake, the thing that you've been obsessing about, is probably still somewhere in the room there with you. And this practice was never meant to make those things go away. But what it did do, even if it was very subtle, and even if you're maybe not entirely sure you even felt it, but it gave your body this tiny little piece of evidence that you're not actually in immediate danger. Most of the spiraling that we tend to do is the nervous system treating that awkward conversation or the email or even the number on your bathroom scale like it's some sort of threat to your survival. And remember, your body does not know the difference between I'm being chased by a saber-toothed tiger and I just sent a slightly weird text, right? It just knows tight, fast, uncomfortable, braced. That's all it knows. And the thing about your nervous system when it's in that state is that it's actually not very interested in your logical reasoning. You can tell yourself everything's fine. You can tell yourself to calm down as many times as you want, but your shoulders are still going to stay exactly where you are because your shoulders are not going to respond to logic. They respond to signals from your body and from your nervous system. And a long exhale is an excellent signal of safety and calm for your body. And a dropped shoulder is also a signal of safety. And naming and noticing just one small thing that's okay and that's safe is also a signal. And so none of these things on their own are dramatic. Even stacked together, they're not necessarily dramatic, but they're 3 signals in a row that tell your body things are okay, things are safe here. It's basically tapping your body on the shoulder and saying, hey, we can ease off here. We can lower our guard just a little bit. And so this is why I didn't ask you necessarily to close your eyes or to go find somewhere quiet to do this. It's because the moments when you actually need this kind of work, when you're spiraling or really wound up, these are rarely the calm, private moments in life, right? They're in the middle of the messiness of your actual life. And so the tool has to be able to work right there in the moment and not just on a meditation cushion out in the woods somewhere. And so here's how I recommend that you actually use this in day to day life. This is a tool you want to be able to reach for when you notice that you've somehow left your body, when you're entering that spiral. And this can be really tricky to do, but you might notice signs that you're heading in that direction. A good example for me is when I'm reading and I notice I've read the same sentence 5 times in a row because my mind has gone off somewhere else. I know that something has triggered me in some way and I'm about to go down some rabbit hole. And that is an excellent clue for me to just stop for a second and do these 3 breaths. And if you just all of a sudden notice you've been clenching your jaw and you're feeling a little bit wound up, another excellent sign to pull this tool out of the toolbox. And so we're looking for cues in our day to day life that we may need to tell our body it's safe to come back a little bit. And this is not a, oh my gosh, I should meditate today sort of thing. This is, oh my God, I'm spinning out of control. Let's just take 3 breaths right here and now. And so this is also an exercise you can do in preparation for something you know might make you start spinning or feeling a little bit tense and uncomfortable, right? So you might want to do the 3 breaths before responding to a text that made your stomach drop. And you can even do it if you're standing in front of the fridge looking for a snack when you know you're not really hungry, but you're stressed out. You can do it in a meeting with your eyes open and nobody's even going to notice that it's happening. And so that's the whole design of this practice. It's invisible enough to use everywhere. It's small enough that you can actually remember to do it. And instead of saving it for some moment when you can have time to yourself in a quiet room, you can do it right there in the moment when you need it most. And so there you have it. That's the 3 breath reset. And so I'd love to know, have you tried the 3 breath reset? Did it actually shift anything for you in the moment, even slightly? Just one notch down. Drop a comment below and tell me what you noticed. Or you may also want to share what's the one thing that you named as going okay today. I actually read these comments and it helps me decide what to create for you next. And if you would like more practices to help calm your nervous system, come back home to yourself and heal the relationship you have with food and body, then come join me in Enough Already. The link is below.